Damn!
Yes, obviously it was off to the podcast. How about time we're starting this? It's your boy Sam.
It's your guy Hobz.
Oh, and it's your girl Shirley.
Yeah. Hey, Shirley.
Yeah.
What's have you? You know how Congolese people do you have like Congolese names?
No.
So like, you know how like Nigerians there or like Ghanaians, like for the Ghanaians like Kwame or like Nana or something like that.
Nah, my
Man,
name
them
is
is like
Horeb.
so in Congo they'll call you Horeb Black.
Yeah, Horeb. Or yeah, Horeb or Horeb. Yeah.
That makes sense.
So it's more so they say them like in a French accent more than like, your actual name.
You can say that
Nah.
slightly, yeah.
Well, no, you'll probably have like a French name, or if not, then you'll probably have like a middle name, but you won't have like an English name and an African name. Not really.
Mad. So Congolese there isn't actually like a.
Nah.
Do you feel like so with my name, for example, so my name's Horeb, and then with all my siblings, yeah, all of our names come from the Bible, innit? So my name means a mountain in the sense where the 10 commandments were made. And then my brothers, you know my brother, you know my sister already. Does your name have a meaning or not really?
Well, I don't have like a Congolese name. My middle name has a meaning. It's it's not Angolan, it's Portuguese.
Same, mine was Portuguese as well.
Yeah, what's your one?
Impova.
Bova.
Impova.
What does that mean? Impova?
Impova, so MPOVA.
MPOVA.
Mm-hmm.
That don't sound Portuguese. That sounds like Kikongo or something. Boy, yeah. My one is Sozia, which is my name.
Oh, that's where it comes from. So yeah, it's French. I mean, it's Portuguese.
Yeah.
That's mad. Portugal's everywhere, bro. They're one of the starts of the colonization stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I found out the other day?
No.
Lagos comes from Portuguese.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, because there's a Lagos in Portugal.
I had no idea.
I was spun. I was watching that show from the last episode, the journey of African colony.
Mm.
I'm talking about like how the capital of Nigeria, Lagos, is named after Lagos in Portugal.
That's crazy.
I was spun.
Yeah, that's mad. I didn't know.
I was
didn't know
spun.
that as well. That's crazy. Fucking hell.
Yeah, it's crazy how like
But the Portuguese were really involved when it came to colonization.
Yeah,
They were heavily. I feel like they definitely set pace. Like
facts.
especially in West Africa, though. Yeah, in West Africa they set pace.
But
Go on.
no, I was gonna say that because the thing as well, I think with the Portuguese, they came on a more of like in the beginning a more friendly tip, like we're gonna do business with you kind of thing, because they were the main buyers of like peppers, honey, like during that period. It was the British and them man there that were like,
British.
yeah, we want this land, and the Belgium. Don't get me started Belgium, but it was them man there that were like, you know what? Why should we pay when we can take? You get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And that's why you got to rob this England for payback to your ancestors.
It's true. It's
No,
true.
I'm not endorsing robbing anything. I'm just.
Why not?
Why not?
Huh?
So, what, you don't support Rob This England?
I support it.
You said underneath her breath, I support it, fam. You have to, fam, because when I remember like when I was doing like we had this conversation already. Like it's kind of like when you get into the activism game here or like the activism world, and you really learn what's happened in history, fam, you get angry. You actually get mad,
For sure.
fam. When you
Do you know? Oh, so sorry to cut you
like,
off.
go on, I feel free.
Okay, no. So do you know? Yeah, I was actually thinking about that conversation we had, yeah, and Sam actually sent me a link to this YouTube video. It was about Leopold.
Is that the one you sent in the group chat?
Yeah.
I watched it and I even was tweeting about it today because it was just so like.
I saw them tweet still.
I'm telling you.
There's no reference though.
Oh.
There was no even like shout to Sam for plugging in. Like, do you know
what I'll do, yeah? After we finish recording, I'll go back to the friend and I'll just at you.
Yeah, love that.
Just say the reference was.
Nah, I'm joking, yeah.
But honestly, like the reason why I even tweeted about it was just because like it's just in my mind. Sometimes I'll wake up and I'll just think about it, or not even wake up, but just throughout the day I might just think, rah, like if you really deep the atrocities, like what was it? The thing about how they use this battery powered things in their hands to like make it seem like they're really strong. when they shook Congolese people's hands.
And then I think the gun
Stuff is
thing,
Yeah,
saying the white
like-
man's impossible to shoot. I was like, this is
That
getting
was
me
mad.
pissed.
Yeah, that was mad.
Do you know what's bombing the most? And it made so much sense. Like, if you know African people, you know we're very God-fearing, idol-fearing. Like, we used to believe in worship kind of thing, innit? When they said, that, like, they used the sun to burn the grass, and they were like, we got the power of the sun.
That one was
Even to this day, if you go to certain African villages and you say, I've got the power of the sun, it's a big meaning. You get what I'm trying to say? That things like these elements, that power of the thunder, power of the sun, for some reason it's so believable. So when I learned that, I was just like, wow, these lot are tricksters, bro.
But it's not even just like the trickery when we're talking about. I feel like we're talking about Belgium here, like in particular, and that whole Leopold situation. The trickery is not even just what they did to Congolese people. It's like in every single aspect of how they invaded Congo, even when dealing with the rest of Europe and when dealing with the rest of the world. I feel like they just tricked and manipulated, like in every sense of the word. So yeah, like when you do think about colonization and history and stuff, it does anger me. I
think it angers me more because after watching that video, I watched probably more other videos as well. I think every European country or Western country for colonizing was just a way to empower your country or make yourself look better in front of everyone else. And I just thought like just doing that to show off, basically, I just think it was just getting me more angry in a sense as well. So I was just like, it's just bare, I don't know, just dumb. Like I just feel like, why just to empower yourself, but what about other people as well? And then when you deep it as well, I think you said in the video 4 to 10 million people, and then at the time that was like maybe 40 or 70% of the population. So there could have been hella more Congolese people in the world right now that all that ish didn't.
Facts. I think, do you know what spins me the most? What angers me the most? It's like when you look at Africa before the colonization, it was developing. There was development. There was like street lamps. There was architecture. There was like mechanical engineering being done there. Like the Berlin Wall, for example. There was actual great things. And what spins me the most, Jay, is that I think that's why Wakanda hit with black people so much. Wakanda is actually like, even though it's glorified and it's fiction, it's a possibility of what Africa could have been like. Like imagine Africa being like one of the world's leading continents in the world. Yeah. Like imagine Africa being like, unfortunately, like the UK.
It would have been though. I don't even think it's a thing about being like the UK. I think that
it would have been greater.
It would have been like the whole of Africa would have been like a super state. Like I don't really think that people in Europe would have been able to. You see, like how if you travel to like America, it's very expensive. Like you're going to the USA, people hype it up. It's supposed to be like this free world, all this stuff. I feel like the narrative would be like that for Africa. Cool. Like people would be sort of queuing up to go there. That would be like the biggest holiday destination, because really and truly, if you look at it, like we have all tourist attractions. Anything you can think of, Africa's got it. Like any sort of tourist attraction, beach, museum, whatever it is that you can find in Europe, you can find it in Africa as well,
and more. So
I think it's just such a shame.
Do you know what? Add to that, so bro, to add to that as well was like, not only have you got and I think you got to think this way: if Africa was an independent state that was able to grow on its own, with no influence of the colonizers or the masters, like the Western world will suffer, because you've got to think they've got nothing to bargain with apart from money. We've got all the resources, we've got everything, and I think that is why the control is still there till now, because they do know the fact of, if Africa is able to become an independent nation, to develop its own technology, develop its own policy, be purely independent and grow. Why would they need the Onyibo people? Why would they need the Westerners? Like, why would think about it?
No, they wouldn't.
They wouldn't, because everything that the Westerners have, technology-wise, material, you can tell yourself in your campaign, like what? Your iPhone is basically Congo. Do you get what I'm trying to say? All the materials you can find, like silicon. My dad was talking about this. We were talking about my dad. Silicon is found from like a beach. I think it's like a sand kind of thing. But there's bare of that in Nigeria, silicon. Bare of that. And then that is the main ingredient for like microchips kind of thing. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, there's really nothing. You got to think. That's why the richest man in history in the world, from Mali, what's his name? King Musa, was African. Yeah. Because the resources were, it's just. Do
you know, like Mansa Musa's wealth? Yeah, I remember I came across something. They said something like his wealth today would be like $416 trillion today. Like, that's what his wealth would be. So imagine just how rich he was all of those years ago. Like, it's unfathomable, like, at this point.
Yeah. And that's why I feel like, going back to what's in before about the Wakanda thing, that's why, like, it hurts a little bit. That's why we get angry.
But then do you think, like, in the future it could end up being like that though?
Nah. I don't think so.
Boy.
Go on, what, do you agree or disagree?
No, I don't know. Do you know what? Part of me doesn't want to say no, because I feel like if I say no, that's
you're
like,
just giving up on something.
yeah, like, I'm hopeless, and I don't want to be hopeless. You know what I mean? But looking at it, like, looking at the reality, I mean, we can get close, or we can get closer, but I don't know. I don't see Africa being liberated, like, without a war. Without some sort of cross-Atlantic war. It's gonna be bloody. Like, I don't see it happening, like, you know, colonizers being like, here you go, we'll take out everything that we've built in your country. You know, we'll stop doing all the manipulating things that we're doing behind the scenes. You know, we'll stop paying these people to oppress you. I don't see that happening, and I don't like to be pessimistic about it, but
it's the reality of it, though.
yeah, I don't see it.
Because you got to think here, what makes the world go round? What makes the physical world go round? It's money. You get what I'm trying to say? That's the bottom line. All your MI6, all your CIA, you think they're just monitoring terrorists? They're monitoring Africa too, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, who? Was it Lumumba? I can't remember his name.
Lumumba,
the guy that... There's a guy, I swear down, I can't remember the exact name, but tell me the story if I'm familiar. But there was a guy who was campaigning to liberate Africa, and what had happened is the CIA got his best friend to kill him. Is that story? Is it Patrick Lumumba? Is that the one?
Patrice Lumumba. I don't know about his best friend, but he definitely... Okay, so the British people, they deployed the MI6, and the lady that was, like, running the operation on the ground, her name was Daphne Park. And then obviously the UN in America, they deployed the CIA, and they were, like, doing things like using snipers, and they were trying to poison his toothpaste and stuff like that. But the MI6 was working with Mobutu, who was, at the time, he was like a military man, but he came to then take over the country after Lumumba died. But yeah, he basically snaked Lumumba because obviously he's Congolese, and he was working with those British people.
And the CIA, innit?
And it was his troops that captured Lumumba and handed him over. So I don't know about best friend.
Maybe that's someone else though.
Yeah, it might be someone else. But yeah, it's similar narrative.
But that's what we're saying though, bro. It's the fact of there's always interference with the CIA, with the Western world to control Africa, take a stake of Africa. Even till now, fam. Like the independent kind of stuff. It's like, you know, when, like, it's like a smoke screen. Like, we're independent on the surface, but deep down there's still so many ties to the Western world.
Yeah, that independence thing, like, I get that, you know, we had to conquer them at some point and drive them out, and that's where the notion of independence comes from. But now, like, when I look at it, like, even just the other day, obviously, for us that are half Angolan, we had our Independence Day
recently.
I can't remember what day it was, but imagine that you're getting shot on your Independence Day.
With all that Independence Day as well, it's been happening, like, worldwide. It's been happening for time, and then I think what's frustrating for me, even like from time ago, it's been there from the past as well, but it's only noticing now that everyone's getting attention. I don't know, it's just a bit annoying.
What do you mean?
So, like, all the problems that Congo and Angola has been facing has always been there. So it's not like it's
no, they have always been there. That's true.
And then
so what are you saying? Like, you don't know why people have started talking about it now?
It's just a bit frustrating.
It's awareness, don't it? You lot are not bait. Angolan people are not out there.
Angolan's fair enough, I guess in a sense.
Even Congo, bruv. Like, I think if I can speak, because obviously we got the writer. Let me Shirley here. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, if I can speak, fam, listen. The truth of the matter is, I think activism amongst, like, when I say our people, I mean like Londoners kind of thing, it's only recently like we're actually becoming activists. It's only recently we're actually becoming more aware and politically aware of the surroundings. It's only recently we're deep in life ain't all about trapping and killing man from the block. Like there's actually a bigger world of my country, my heritage to what's going on. And not everyone is there yet. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I think that's why you may feel like it's just now people are talking. But the truth is, yeah, it's true. People are just talking now because it's now they care. Back in the day, you didn't even knew.
But then my thing is that I feel like I had this conversation with you before. You might stay there and you might be the ones to care, but then I feel like some people are going to drop off and be like, it's going to be another trend for them.
Facts.
And then
wait. Sorry, I got a bit lost. Wait, are you guys saying
that? Bourgeoisie touched her still.
No. Are you guys saying that like you feel like the whole raising awareness thing is like a trend basically, and it's gonna?
For some people, it's a trend. For some people,
I'm saying it's
real. For some people, it's a trend. For some people, it's real. What do you think? You don't think?
No. Do you know what? No.
Don't get started. Please don't get started.
I agree because. Do you know what? No, I agree. I feel like some people do hold it like dear to their heart, and sometimes people just need a push. Like when you're talking about something, maybe there are some people that are like, "Right, I've been feeling this way," and it's nice to know that like I'm in solidarity with other people, and that gives them that push to start talking about it. Others, I feel like maybe they just needed something to talk about.
Something to talk about now, and then next week the topic's going to change.
Do you I think like I think it is? I think what I've seen, there's spaces. So that there's a space in which people talk about Congolese stuff all the time. There's a space where like Nigerian pop, like whatever it is, there's a space for it. But I feel like there's individuals who float from that space depending on what's popping. Does that make sense? So I feel like, words to what you're saying, the are saying that there are people who would float into this space about like Congo's bleeding, for example, and will stay there and like, hold on, I actually want to help. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I think we had this discussion earlier, but it's like, that's why people like you, for example, exist. Because out of 100 people, you might capture one person. And you've got to celebrate that. You've got to appreciate that. Like, what you're doing is to capture one person. Even though at the time, there's 400 people retweeting your stuff. There's bare people saying Congo's bleed. There's bare people throwing like end SARS. But the bottom line is, who's going to stay and continue to fight? And I think that's what we're kind of talking about now. For me, I will always say it's a trend. Because unfortunately, what I see in our community, people only follow trends. Like I've not seen a lot of things where it's just like, maybe now, but I've not seen a lot of people that are willing to stand out. People are willing to like, and maybe someone will say like, that's because of who I'm around, innit? Do you get what I'm trying to say? But as over my experience, people follow trends. Like if it's drip or drown, if it's like, do you get what I'm trying to say? I don't know, like not many people are. Being woke and educate, not educate, but being woke and being activist is not really celebrated in the people I'm around. In my.
When you say celebrated, what do you mean though?
Like I feel like I had a conversation before. Like and he can back me up on this. If I go to the mandem and I say mandem, put article about like Africa, for example, I might just get a little like, oh mad, or say swear, oh mad. That's if I'm lucky. If I put something mad like Tio ain't fucked up, got put in bin, I say swear. Wait, what? Who was it? Oh, man from X. There's more excitement for that.
Do you know what though? Yeah,
that's my opinion of it. I might be wrong, but you know what I mean.
I feel like that's true, but it has a lot to do with like part of it. Partly, it's not our fault. Like it's not people's fault. That's how I feel. Like, there's a saying, ignorance is bliss. Yeah,
facts.
Sometimes people live in their ignorance, but they're not to be blamed, because if you've grown up in this country, you've gone to school, you're not taught these things in school. Our understanding of the way the world works and the way things are supposed to be, it comes from how we're taught. Like it comes from our upbringing. We spent most of our years in school. Some of us are only just coming out of that process now. So it's like, that's where our understanding of the world comes from. Anything else that we know, we have to go and seek it, or we've been told it, but it's not what's been fed to us, right? So I feel like, obviously, where people get their source of entertainment from as well, it's it's what we know, it's what's programmed. So the things that you see on social media, the artists in the music industry, maybe actors, maybe Instagram, like those are the areas where we get our entertainment from for the most part. So I agree with you, but I can't even be mad when people have that reaction. You know?
Facts.
I understand why they think, oh, what's this?
Yeah,
because it's
that's
not
a bit
really,
dead.
yeah, it's not something that they're used to even talking about. If we were taught this type of stuff in school and the truth about colonialism was taught to us in school, imagine how everyone would react to it now when we see it on like Twitter. If we knew, we'd be like, yeah, we need to get onto this, do you know what I mean? But now some people are like, what's this about? They're kind of like one foot in, one foot out. They're interested, but they don't really understand, you know. And for you to really understand the effects of colonialism and how it's impacting us today, you have to either teach yourself or you need to be taught. You can't just go with.
But then, do you think that all of what being taught, the way you're being taught, do you think it should be changed for the younger generation? Because in my personal view, like the way the younger generation should be taught is that they should be taught about the history of that, the real history of what's happened, and then.
That's such a good point, and I was gonna say, I feel like yes, I think it should be changed, and the reason why is because I think, like, back to that point about what we're taught in school. Me and Sam were having this conversation when we had that long convo. Basically, one of the things we touched on was like, no one. Let's say me, for example, the reason why I started writing about Africa was I came across this quote by this man, and I should have really researched his name before I came here today, because I was telling Sam about it, and I was like, yeah, I'll research it, but honestly, I didn't. But this man, shout out to the man, he made a quote. No, honestly, he's a waste man. He made a quote, and he said something like, the only history of Africa is what white people have written. That's the quote that he put out, right? That's his quote. Well, the reason why I say shout out to this man is because actually he was really dropping gems like we just didn't know. He was actually telling us that, by the way, whatever your understanding is of Africa and, you know, what it stands for, what life in Africa is like, we've given you that understanding. Whatever you think Africa is like, it's what white people have taught you that it's like. So that's what made me, looking at that's what made me think, oh, you know, maybe more people should write about Africa from my lens, like from an African person's lens, rather than a colonizer's lens. Because obviously what we're going to get out of the two, what we're going to get out of the one that the colonizer gives us is obviously going to be skewed. So back to your question, I think that the younger generations should be taught about Africa and about colonization through people like us.
Yeah, cool.
Through our lens, basically.
Okay, yeah, cool. I agree with that.
But you know, but the thing is, though, you know what? As you were talking before, you know what came to mind about what you were saying was like the reason why some people don't, because I feel like we're low key from a place of privilege. Well, now what do I mean by that? I feel like because we've achieved a certain place in our lives, whether it be we've now got good jobs, we're working, we can afford to care about the bigger picture, which is like the Congo, the Africa, the whatever, the colonizers, whatever. For some people, they're still focused on like just the basics or the effects of colonialism. So, for example, if I met a boy who is still trying to just survive, parents, for whatever reason, are not there for him like that, he's still struggling, he's not going to care about what's going back home in his home country, because he needs to find a way to eat. He needs to find a way to like actually survive. So it's like, now when I'm deep in it, I can't blame him. Like you said, I can't blame him if I'm like, bro, so you're Nigerian, did you know X, Y, Z, colonial masters? He's going to be like, bro, I'm starving right now, fam. There's no food on my table.
I get what you mean, but
like, why should I go and do research on Google? I'd rather go make some money and just do, whether it's illegal or legal. I'm just saying to you, like, his intermediate or his short-term vision is how to survive, not how to bet his home country when he's still struggling in the UK.
But then my thing with that version is that it's more of like that's more of like a political view in the sense that
Man said political.
no,
Hey,
no,
she's
no,
learning.
Not political. Like,
Hey.
but in the sense that where you already know how it is, man, in the UK, disadvantaged kids, fam, they just say disadvantage. You don't really get help from the system, etc., like that. So you're not really gonna care about that, regardless of what race in it. So in that context, you're just gonna stay where you are, and you're never gonna care. So let's say me, you, and Shirley, for example, we ain't getting care. Like your mom's working 2 jobs, for example, and your dad's not really there like that. Typically in the UK, you're not really going to get help like that. So your first thought is just like, how the hell am I going to get peas? How am I going to get out of this situation? How am I going to blow, etc., etc. You're not going to really care about. You're not going to care about your history and all that until probably you make it in life or whatever. So in that sense, I think it's more political rather than you not caring. It's just that it's a situation you're in, you can't really do nothing about it.
I think you could. I see what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that you're not gonna care, but I don't think it's political though.
That's what I was gonna say.
It's not political. It's just a situation.
Like it's a class thing.
Yeah. Lower.
I off topic here. What class would you say that you are? Like now, people.
I think the boss, yeah.
Oh.
I need a question for this question.
No, this is actually a funny question. You know.
Pass them, please.
I'm gonna have to say working class. Bruv. What the hell?
Sorry. Try the apple juice one. Actually slaps.
Oh, cool.
Listen, I'm working class.
Yeah, we still are. We're still working class.
Like,
yeah.
What? I'm working class, definitely.
Wait, hold on. But both of you, in your opinions, what kind of name the categories in your opinion, because they might be different to different people. So
working class, middle class, and what?
Upper class, like
bourgeoisie. I ain't there.
When I said bourgeoisie, nah, yo, they're for French, fam. What?
No, bourgeoisie is like a person of like a higher societal status, basically.
So apostrophe for bougie.
Yeah, it's like bourgeoisie. I guess that's where it comes from. I guess, please don't quote me.
Bourgeoisie.
Yeah.
Nah, cause
you're bourgeoisie.
Nah, I bloody wish.
No, you lot are using it in the wrong context.
This ain't no actually niggas, bro. This ain't no niggas.
We'll talk about it after.
Nah, cause obviously, cause like I thought it was like, if I can be real, like peasant, then like working class.
Yeah, so I was gonna say like
like not even like
poverty.
Man said peasant.
Like obviously, if we're going back to like when class was actually existed, like it was like, you know, peasant, working class, like what, middle class, then like noblemen.
What's middle class though? What's that?
Bruv, do you know what's mad? I remember I was in college, and there was a teacher, Ghanaian guy, Mr. Yao, I rate him, accounting. He was like, I'm middle class. I was like, you're black, you know you're middle class. Obviously, I was young. He was like, nah, I'm middle class because my property and my assets are worth X amount. So ever since then, I thought middle class is based on what you own, like the value of it. Do you get what I'm trying to say? I don't know if it's true.
Do you know what?
But I've just based it off of the conversation with him.
So what do you think it is? You don't know.
I think that what you own has got a big part to play.
Facts.
And that's why I comfortably said that I would class myself as working class, because at the moment I just work.
I don't own shit.
So I don't have assets like that. Do you know what I mean? But obviously, if I was to now invest in assets, and I think, you know, yeah, my status would probably go up and it would probably be middle class. But I'm not sure. That's a good debate. I don't really know.
Because I think working class, you can still work. Like everyone still works. Even if you're high or bourgeoisie, like you still work. So then that means, would you say Boris Johnson is like bourgeoisie?
No, but in my version of bourgeoisie, it depends on your version of bourgeoisie.
He might want to think he is. He might think he's, but obviously he's not really a good example. Let me just say
but that's the truth, don't it?
But technically, yeah, because obviously even the school he went to, you know, that Eton school.
Eton mess,
that
innit?
Private. Eton what?
Is it Eton mess? No, that's the dessert. I forget I said that.
Listen, hey, continue.
So yeah, going back to the class stuff though.
Wait, so you don't want to know how to define the bourgeoisie?
Bourgeoisie.
Yeah, bourgeoisie. Because it'll be sick to know, like, what does that actually mean? Because, you know, man, them think bougie like designers and stuff, or like in a nice place. It means
the middle class, typically with reference to its perceived materialistic values or conventional attitudes.
That's
so
basically
interesting.
So that means bourgeoisie just middle class then.
But then I feel like what that bourgeoisie version is saying is that you're middle class, but the materialistic things and etc. What do you say about that?
Materialistic.
Perception.
Well, they're perceived materialistic values.
So they perceive that you are higher than middle class. That's what I'm taking from it.
Yeah.
You could say that. You could say that.
Basically, what I get, bourgeoisie means image. That's what it means.
Basically.
No, yeah, basically.
Image,
like middle class, but then maybe they feel like they put particular importance on their assets, basically.
No, not because perceive means that how it looks from the outside. So perceive, that means is that bourgeoisie is basically how the lower classes, whether it be working, view them. So because middle class can afford the designers, the XYZ, the material things
that's interesting.
on a normal day basis, we are like, God forbid I become middle class, Jesus' name. But people who are working class and peasants, that's so rude. People who are lower class and working class.
What the words of some of
you? Will be like, yeah, them are bourgeoisie because they got designer, they got this, they got the yachts, they got the nice cars.
Do you know what? Then I don't agree with that definition then.
Go on.
Definitely not, because so the person down the road is bourgeoisie then because they have some drip?
No. The fact that if a lower bourgeoisie from that, what that means is,
let me even give a better example. So let's say what's it called? Me and him are out, yeah. You go out to a dance and me and him are out, yeah, and then you see us two at a rave and whatever, we're dripping and drowning whatever designer wear, yeah. We know we're normal average dudes, yeah. But the way you see us, you're seeing us here like this guy.
I'm gonna think,
you're gonna think he's up, whatever. But when we know we're normal average, it's just like the way we like to dress. So obviously he's saying in that example that of bourgeoisie, that's where the peasants, poverty will look at the people of the middle class, etc. Saying he's up, where really and truly he's just gonna afford that scenario.
That stuff, yeah.
Basically. Okay,
that makes sense.
Yeah, but the bottom line is, we're working class people. That's. How do you feel about that? Does that burn you, or you calm with it?
I can't with it now because it's my scenario at the moment. But I know where I want to be in life, innit? So I don't really.
So do you actually want to be middle class? Like,
no, I want to be higher, way higher.
What, like upper class?
Upper class.
Really?
Upper class.
Why?
I want to kind of think.
Why not?
Why not? Oh.
No, but I'm not. But the thing is,
I don't want to be working, bro. Like I don't want to.
But we've already established that working class doesn't mean you're working. It's just where your assets wise, what you do. Yeah. Can you Google the definition of upper class? Since you've got Wi-Fi now. You know.
True. So what, the meaning of upper class?
Or definition of upper class, yeah. Or what defines upper class? And I'll do what defines middle class. But carry on here, Paul, because then you could do what defines working class.
Upper class is the social group that has the highest status in society, especially the aristocratic. What? Wait, the social group that has the highest status in society, especially the aristocracy. So like aristocrats, like people like Princess Diana's family, they were aristocrats.
Oh, that's mad. That's mad.
So you never be them.
Yeah.
But
I want to be rich.
That's different though, because the thing is,
you'll be middle class basically.
Yeah, because what I've seen is that middle class are defined like those. Yeah, so the middle class is those that earn basically 7% to 200% of the medium income, or those with
how much percent?
So 67% to 200% of the medium income. So basically, I think like there's a middle ground of how much you should earn within the country, and if you earn towards the higher end, you become middle class basically. So I think
what was your definition of upper class, isn't it?
No, but I think because what I learned as well is that your class also depends on social status. So like you could be a guy who's earning mad racks, but still in the hood. When you go to like these like parliament and that,
yeah, that's what I mean.
They don't know who
it's a social class.
It's a social status
and
thing.
I feel like you can't. Do you know?
You can't buy that.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. I feel like you can't buy your class. Like you can't. You can in terms of like if you get more money, then I guess you're considered middle class. But it's like what you're born into. I feel like it can change.
No, yeah, you can network. Yeah,
it can change, but like I just feel like you can't buy it. You can't buy your class.
No matter how rich you are.
Let me give you a random example. So let's give you an example of an artist. So let's say Jay-Z, for example. You know, he started from like hood, whatever, and then what would you say his terms is viewed now?
Okay, so what's his social status?
You tell me, I'm asking you.
His social status is worldwide, bro. Like
he's like upper class. He's like upper class.
Yeah, but
socially.
I think in my opinion, because he's American, there is a difference. Because I don't think the class stuff works in America. I think it's more of a British culture, the class system, in my opinion. But it's like, if you were to bring, if someone like him was to come to the UK, I'm not gonna lie to you, he's probably met, has he met Prince Harry? Has he met Royalty yet?
Probably.
Probably.
I wouldn't be surprised if he has.
Yeah.
But like, someone like him, he's upper class because of his social status. Not because of his wealth, his social status. Because unfortunately, if he was to lose his money tomorrow, he's still got connections. Good example, Donald Trump. I hate him. He's upper class because his connections is mad. Because his family, not only him, because his family.
He's gone broke as well, but finally got rich again as well.
Like he's mad. So I think because I think unless you can be upper class and be broke, in my opinion.
How though?
Social status. If you're born into a family of wealth and you squander
You
it,
ain't gonna be broke then, are you? You can't, like, this.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean. I see what you
You
mean.
always have money
No,
some
but
way
that's what I'm saying.
somehow.
But
You
no,
could
but
be broke
the thing. So, but you know what's when I say back, you know when you as Shirley, what's your surname?
Yeah, you need to edit that out there.
Okay, so
Remy Dupe me.
okay. Let's say me, yeah. So like me as Samuel, I can be broke. Like Samuel, the individual, God forbid, but I can be broke. Innit? But my family name Zubair will never be broke. There's a difference. So even though I'm a useless fool, God forbid again, but it's like because of my family, I'm rich.
Right, but then that means you're never gonna be working class.
And that's my point.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter
I'm broke,
about the money you've got. Though.
but I'm broke, but I'm still upper class.
Cool.
But I see your point as well. I'm really broke.
So what would you class as? What would you class as Blue Ivy, the daughter?
Oh, she's gone clear.
She's the same.
She's gone clear.
No, you can't use that as an example because she's a child. She's a child.
But why couldn't you put in the class?
No.
But
It's a great example because that's like Prince William's son, George or whatever his name is.
Exactly, but they're the same. You can't use that to determine. Oh, you know what? Blue Ivy. In fact, Blue Ivy is a bad example because she's probably got more assets than me, you, and you.
Kylie Jenner's got a whole house. Storm's got a whole house.
Exactly. So you can't really use them children as an example because their one is just mad. You have to. Your example was good about like someone royal or something like their child, and then maybe they squander all their wealth and they're like homeless. But that person that's homeless
It's connections.
is still not working class.
But that's what we say social status because your social status is who you know socially. And if I can say, if you're of a higher class, if you've got a good social status, imagine Uncle George gives you £1 million here you go, here's £1 million.
Right.
That's upper class. So you can still be broke and be upper class because even though you're broke, you don't stay for too long because you've got rich friends that can just
Exactly.
bust you out.
Yeah, you ain't your network. Yeah,
God bless you.
Yeah, I don't think even if you're down, like you can be down for months, years. If you're born into a rich family, I can't consider somebody like that working class.
Going off topic again, do you think to be not to necessarily change classes, but to reach like a celeb status, you have to do something tapped, or you have to be like different minded to everyone else?
When you say to reach a celeb status, what do you mean?
So like you give an example of like Kim K, the way she reached there is through that video with Ray J, and then whatever you got other people. So do you think you have to do something mad or not really?
Do you know?
I don't think that.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's a difference in going viral and celeb status and being wealthy. Like, word to me goes, I'd rather be rich than famous. Fame does nothing to you, but it gives you more stress. Like, imagine just like going to the shop, paparazzi coming to you. Like, it's weird. So I'd rather be rich than famous. But I feel like going viral. I think back in the day it was a bit different, but like now you can go viral and not be famous like that. If that makes sense.
I don't think it has any no, I don't think, to answer your question, like if you have to do something mad to reach celebrity status, I don't think so, because people can make like even if you make a song, you can make a dope song and everyone's talking about you, you've gone viral, everyone's banging your music, you might still be sitting in your bunk bed having nothing.
That's true.
You can have nothing, like, or you can like, I don't know, you can be a photographer, you put out like, I don't know, an album of your work and everyone's like, oh my God, these pictures are traveling all over the internet, people are using your pictures, but you're sitting in your room, you're going to work, like, viral, I feel like whatever you see on the internet doesn't equate to, it doesn't like, I don't know what the word is. It doesn't transpire into something in real life without like hard work. It's not that you're just tapped and it's gonna now make you famous or make you rich in the real world. I don't think that.
Fair enough. I don't know.
I think it can help. I think it can help when you've got a big presence online, or maybe you go viral. But I don't think that
It's the main
viral,
source. Is the main source.
Transpires into I'm wealthy now. No
cool.
way. Yeah.
Do you know what? On topic of being like viral and like out there, John was laughing because you got a celebrity in the building. We got a celebrity.
Where's that bottle? Oh.
It's over there. You tried it. You really tried it.
I wanted to make sure it was not. No, I wanted to make sure it wasn't near him. Innit?
Nah, but your thing is you're talking like that, but like you've got a whole book out, bro.
Yeah, but
like I feel like the people need to know who Shirley Beep is. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
So explain the book.
The book. Okay.
No, we got to do it step by step.
Oh.
So first of all, what is your side hobby?
What side hobby?
Like, what do you do on your side? It's quite obvious.
No.
What do you do in your spare time?
Oh, writing.
Oh, writing. Oh, you write? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you write. So then obviously, from writing, you have now written a
book.
Wow.
What's the book called?
So it's called The Dark Tales of Congo DR.
Wow. Can we just deep? We've got author in the building.
Yeah, trust me.
Like the thing is, yeah, this is what I said to you earlier was like, we need to celebrate this. It's not a small thing, but like every win is a win.
Yeah,
Man said we got a black female author in the building, fam. When you were growing up, did you think you ever meet a black female author? And you think I'm trying to shit my mouth being so serious with you?
Really?
Tell me what nigga you know.
Do you know how many girls, not even just girls, do you know how many people I know that write?
Swear.
Yes.
Because you're in that field. I'm not in that field.
Nah, man.
Do you know how many black engineers that I know? Black male engineers that I know?
No, I'm supposed you know many.
Because I'm in that field.
Okay.
But for someone who's not, it's like, oh, wow. Good example, I gave this before. I remember when I was with my boys one time and then watching an AJ fight. And then he was like, oh yeah, bro, what do you do? No, he told me what he does. He does like editing videos, whatever. And he was like, bro, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I'm doing engineering, aerospace. He was like, what?
Really?
He was like, we can do that? Aerospace? So you got to think that like when you're outside looking in, it's a big thing, bruv. I can't write about a book.
It even goes back to that bourgeoisie perception.
Yeah, like we perceive it to be a...
trolling.
I'm
Yeah,
screaming.
saying.
Nah, but the bottom line is though, like, that's why we got the podcast here to like kind of shine light on the things that like to use the norm. But there's someone out there watching that's like, rah, she wrote a whole book on Congo. That is mad. What is it about?
Yeah, well, that brings me on to explaining. So I think that book, yeah, how I would describe it, I like to call it a text museum because it's like, for me, it's like reading the book is like being in a museum, yeah, and going around and you're seeing the events, like you're seeing renditions of the historic events. So that's kind of how I wrote it and how I like to look at it, because every chapter signifies like a period of time or an event. So it's in chronological order as well. So yeah, I think the feel that you get from the book is definitely that text museum feel, like from start to finish, it's taking you through a story. But just to give some more context about what it's about, I feel like I just really picked out some of the most defining tales in Congolese history, and I just wrote about them, like the things that I think were really defining of our present now and our prolonged future. Those are the events that I just wrote about in order. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I can't explain it in any other way.
No.
So obviously you started doing blogs prior to doing the book, etc., etc. What made you then decide, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna go for a book? Like,
Yeah, it's big, you know.
Do you know what? I don't know. I think, okay, writing for me is something I've been writing since I was a child. Like,
yeah,
like I've been writing books with plain paper folding it, writing my book, drawing pictures.
Mad.
That's my storybook. Since I was a child, I was doing that. And then I'd say writing, I've done different types of writing. Like when I was in college, I was writing poetry. I performed my poems in front of the college a few times. So writing's always been my favorite way to express myself. But then, and also, so how did I come to writing the book? I've always spoken about Congo. Like Congo is something, obviously me with my heritage, I just always wanted to shed light on what's happening. Like I've always felt drawn to that situation. I've always felt like I need to raise awareness about it. And I've always liked writing. And then obviously I think I've written a few things about Congo in the past. But at the time of writing the book, I was going through something personal in my life. I was going through something personal, and I think writing the book just was something that showed me that I could do it. I just wanted to like show myself that I could do it. I always wanted to do it. And at the time that I started and said, okay, I'm going to do this, I just needed to prove it to myself.
Would you say at the time when he was writing the book as well, it could be when he was going through whatever he was going through, it was like a stress reliever as well at the same time? Or?
Definitely, because funnily enough, I think it was the summer after I came back from doing my masters, but I was pretty, like, I didn't have nothing to do on my hands. Plus I said I was going through something in my personal life, so the book was like a big distraction.
Yeah, 100.
A big distraction every day, every second of every day. Like I was on that book. Okay, I was cool. Like, maybe if I wasn't writing it, I was reading it on my phone before I go to bed and seeing what I need to change. If I wasn't talking about it with my friend, I was like, I was consumed by it. But I think I just needed something to be consumed by at the time. So it was good that I chose something positive. Yeah.
Do you know when I'm kind of interested in it from my own personal perspective. Do you know when it came to like you've done everything, you've written everything out, when did you know it was ready to actually go? Because some people always like, they aim for perfection. Or you just like, fuck it, I'll release it, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Do you know what? Honestly, like, to be really honest with you, I feel like my craft or my art, whatever, is so rough around the edges. Like, I feel like it's rough around the edges, but I'm still learning. Like, as I go along, I'm still learning. I feel like the book is how it's supposed to be. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I can't change it. It was my first ever book, and I just feel like the way it is the way it's supposed to be. Like, by the time I read it and looked at it, I genuinely felt like there was nothing more I could give to it. And I feel like when you feel like that, that's the time. Like, you just got to put it out.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's mad though, because I remember when I was reading through your work, because on your website and stuff, because word to what H said, it's like, fam, you gone from writing books as a little kid in paper folding and that to having your own book, to then was the website first, then the book, or was it book then website?
The book was first.
That's
the book
crazy.
was first, yeah, and then the website was just something that we went into lockdown this year, and then I was like, oh, I want my own space to sell my books from, and I want to write stuff, so let me make this website, and that's where that came from. It's
mad. So then, like, what I'm trying to say is, like, when I was reading through your website, what I loved about your writing was that it's just freestyle. Not freestyle, but it's free-spirited. Like, your work is like, I'll see LOL, brackets. Like, man will see, like, even the Afrikaan, right, like, where the language Africa kind of thing. What I love was the fact of, like, obviously it's educational, and we'll get to that later on. But I just felt like she's just one of the people then. Man don't feel like this is one, like, you know when I read like historic books and doing masters, the research thing is long. It's boring, fam. You're seeing big jargon words and it's mad. And you got to have a tab open for the book and a tab open for Google to research, to define the words that they're using. So it's like, it's mad. So it's like, when I'm reading your book and I'm seeing LOL, I'm seeing brackets, I'm seeing, I'm like, raw, like, I can understand
so
this.
Interesting. And no one, I feel like no one's picked up on that, but that's so interesting, because I do that intentionally. Like, my whole writing, not with books, but because with books, you won't see an LOL in the book.
Of course, on the website, though, on the website.
But on the website, or like in a thread or something, I do that intentionally because I want. Like, I used to read stuff when I wanted to talk about the history thing. I used to read stuff and maybe I didn't even understand it. Like, I'll be like, what is this? So when I'm writing stuff, I want to write it like how we're talking now.
Facts.
I don't want people to feel like, what does this word mean? What does this word mean? I want you to get it from my opinion.
Yeah,
So when you're
yeah.
reading my work, you
It's
sort of know
relaxed.
where I stand.
Yeah.
Like, this is my work, this is my opinion, this is how I feel about this topic, and I'm just sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good that you notice that, because that's what I'm trying to like put out.
Yeah. And I think, do you know what, it just goes to show you're writing for your audience.
Yeah.
Like, your audience is us, man. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Oh, and I think this is where it gets a bit challenging, and tell me if I'm wrong, but it feels like for some people, the audience initially is the community, but the money is at the wider population, should we say. And it's like they kind of cater themselves to the white part of the population. And I might be wrong, it might have changed since I last checked, but that's one thing that I feel like a lot of us, we know we're speaking a different, not language, but different kind of texture, tone through our work, through our writing, through our communication. But because we're trying to reach the masses, and unfortunately black people make up like 5% of the population. Do you get what I'm trying to say? When you deep
So
it,
it's like 3%. What, in this UK? It's like 3%.
do you get what I'm trying to say?
3%, yeah.
So
do you
it's
know,
like,
do you know that's mad to me as well? Because when you look at London, you look at London like it's so diverse. so
Don't,
wonderful.
yeah.
it's a
Do
bubble.
you know what? You can't
It's a bubble.
get
Yeah.
phased by this London, you know.
It's a bubble.
This London is small. 3% of the UK population.
It's black people.
And then when you go out of London,
Oh wait, let
you're
me
just
get
like,
the cover safe.
I got you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Shout out Cavossier, sponsor us.
It's my favourite drink.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? Shout out to Shirley for suggesting it.
Yeah.
I think every guest comes on now because got to suggest a drink.
What drink do they like?
Yeah. Because Moscato and that is a bit, it doesn't touch you as much.
This was touching me
Yeah.
still.
So the thing is, but like, and I think what it's so easy, because me and you had this conversation earlier, but like my whole poetry thing, it's so easy to like dismiss the achievements. Fam, how did you get your book published? Like, that's not an easy feat.
Do you know what?
Don't say God.
No.
Obviously, thank God, obviously.
No. It's good that you touched on this, because I didn't go through the publishing route, and I might, but I just felt like at the time I had I'm not going to say offers. I had options. Yeah, options.
Don't say offers.
Offers.
Come on, NSG.
Huh?
Where's it? Options.
No, I had options. Obviously, you know, there's different routes that you can choose to publish your work. But I just felt like with my book, especially that first book, I wanted to publish it on my own platform, because I felt like the messaging, I couldn't trust no publishers to get the messaging across how I wanted it. It was a book about Congo. It was like the Dark Tales of Congo DR. I couldn't really trust anybody to get the messaging out how I wanted it. And I felt like me putting it, like literally just slapping the book, I went through like a printing company, obviously got them printed and stuff, but then me slapping it on my website, I felt so free, like to just sell them to, this is the audience that whoever wants it has access to it, and I could market it however I wanted.
The freedom of it.
Yeah, I like the freedom of it, and I think that's not necessarily the way to go, especially if you want your books in bookshops, then obviously you need to go through like publishers and then get said deals and all of that. Yeah, but for me, I just liked the freedom.
Do you know in regards to at the moment you like the freedom, but then in terms of in the future, would you want to then get it to like bookshops?
I would but I just think I'm waiting for the right book. I'm waiting to write the right book. Because you know what's funny, yeah? The books that I want to write, yeah? Like, I have books that I haven't finished, that I'm sitting on, that could probably last me for about 3 years, yeah?
Mad.
Let's say I've started the books and I've probably got like 20 pages. Yeah. So I've started them. Obviously, they're not finished. But if I was to finish them, I'd probably be able to put out books for the next 3 years. So...
Come like DBE, bro. Just got chats for days.
in those books, I feel like they're so niche. Like, there's a book you'd probably know. There's a religion from Angola and Congo called Gimbangis.
Yeah, no.
Do you know about them? Yeah. So they're like it's a sect of Christianity. So I've got a book about them as well, about their Christianity sect. So I'm looking at it now and I'm like, okay, if I put this in Waterstones, how's that gonna do? I don't know.
But do you know what came to mind just now as you're talking? Maybe don't give it to Waterstones. Go to Angola. I'm trying to sell it to them.
No, but
Like, I'm not saying it's easy.
That's what I mean. Rather than go like for my books, the traditional publishing route,
Yeah.
it's not that attractive to me. Like obviously, money wise, it would be great to slap a book on Amazon and have like loads of people have access to it and they can just buy it at the click of a button, and it's easier. It makes it easier. They do all the work for you, but I don't know. I'm not too fussed about that right now.
Yeah. Nah, it's brazy still. It's actually brazy. To think that like you publish it yourself independently, it just fits the narrative like independent black woman. It fits the narrative so well. So then, explain that journey to us? Then was that you contacting them yourself? You fund it yourself? Like
everything was funded by me.
mad.
The printing, the getting the book made. Where is it gonna come
Is
from?
it long like the whole process?
Yeah. Do you know I put out this book and I only put it out on my website as an ebook first. I didn't even put it out as a hard copy at first. Literally,
mad.
people. I think I put it out as a hard copy almost a year later. Yeah,
Mad.
yeah, because people were like, "Oh, I really want a hard copy of this book." Blah 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 blah. Because honestly, it was my first book. I had no clue what I was doing. I just wanted to put the book out and I wanted people to read it. So I put it out as an ebook, and then the more people kept saying, "Oh, I want a hard copy," I was thinking, because at first I was thinking, is this book even gonna be popular enough for me to invest into making hard copies of this and selling them? So I was waiting to see that, but the more the demand was there, I was thinking like, let me just do it. And yeah, I don't regret doing that. I think that was good. I think I probably should have put out hard copies at the start. But
You think?
yeah,
I think the method you've done is fine though, in my opinion.
Believe in your blood clot sauce.
People like hard copies with books. People
Yeah,
like
facts.
to hold the book. Even me,
And flip the page.
I like hold. Yeah, like even me when I had the book in my hand, to see it like in a PDF and you've written it and it's just like it looks like a bloody dissertation. Like it doesn't look no different from a dissertation. When you hold it in your hands, it's like
It's a different vibe.
it's a movie to me, innit?
It's a different
movie,
vibe,
Yeah.
bro.
Fam, where's your book? It's not here.
No, it's not here. Do you
Bad
tell me to bring
promo.
it?
Bad promo. You should have brought your book here, fam, so we can. You should have even gifted us a bit.
Next time.
Should have been like, here's a free copy. Yeah, I'm trying to say.
Which free?
Okay,
Ooh.
discount fine.
Which one?
Special
No,
discount.
Next time.
Man said.
Do you know if the ebook did you charge for it as well? Was it
Yeah, no, I charged for
alright,
it,
cool.
but obviously I charge more for the
Pass the bottle as well, please.
the hard
Don't look
copy.
at me like that, fam. Like I'm an alcoholic, bro. Don't do
I
that,
charge
fam.
more for the hard copy, but the ebook I did charge for it.
Can I ask how much is the book?
It's £13.
But-
The hard copy is £13.
Calm.
yeah. So it's affordable, but that's what I mean. Look, when you go through the publishing stuff, this is
It's
why
mad, innit?
maybe I'm inexperienced, like as of now with the publishing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to be able to make my book affordable. So when it's in Waterstones, I don't know like
You don't have the
how
person,
much or what they're gonna do you want the mixer?
No one apple juice. It slaps in it, bro.
It's good.
It slaps in it,
I'm gonna have
man.
to stretch a bit more.
It's not trying to move.
Okay, yeah, and so what was your question again?
That's affordable, basically. That
It's
if you go
affordable.
through
Yeah,
the.
I wanted to just make it affordable. I don't want people to spend mad money on a book.
Can I ask a question then? Like, be real, yeah. What would be more satisfying if you sat at home after like you're writing your book and you knew that like the majority of your sales, even though the volume is not there, is from black people.
It was.
So that no, I know it was, but I'm saying that what would be more give you more gratitude? You sit back after a long day writing your book, and you got option A. It's not as many volume wise, but majority are from black sales, black people, or you've got mad volume, but the majority are just white. Like, what would sit better with you?
Do you know what? I think it's important not to even, at this point, it's important not to even distinguish about the race,
Mad.
because it's not even about the race for me. Like, obviously, all my books will be about Africa,
Yeah.
which means that the primary audience are going to be black people. That's what my book is. Any book or any writing that I do is to empower black people first and foremost, yeah. But the audience, that's where it gets a bit techie, because it's not about the race. It's about like the person that wants to learn, like where their heart is. Like, you know, I don't think you're gonna buy my book to maybe bash Congolese people or bash African people. You're probably gonna buy my book because you want to learn about it, or maybe, you know, you have empathy for that topic. So it doesn't matter
Yeah.
what race you're from. Then you could be Indian, you could be white, you could be Chinese. Of course, black people, it makes me happy when black people are buying it because it's for them. I wrote it for them. But it doesn't matter because, you know, if you could be a black person that's totally disinterested and you can buy it, but then you could be a white person who recognizes, you know, colonial impact and who recognizes racism and all these things, and then you could buy it because you genuinely, you know, want to know more.
Yeah.
So it's about the intention for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's most important.
I think that makes sense as well because because it's just like, you know, sometimes whenever I do something, I'm doing it for my people, but then when I see like a person who's not from our community showing more interest, I feel a bit like mad. Like, why they show more interest? Like, it
doesn't make me mad. It doesn't make me mad in my opinion. It makes me somewhat proud in the sense that,
really,
you're genuinely interested in our culture.
Yeah, because
like,
you've reached
someone else that doesn't normally sit with us at the table.
Well, it does make you feel a bit disappointed that like my own people don't really care like that, but then these man do.
But then it's going back to the conversation me and you had personally. You said you need allies in the fight you're trying to fight against, and then this person wants to understand
allies. Yeah, true.
So in my opinion, I don't know. It somewhat makes me proud in the sense that, like, it could be a white person, it could be an Asian person that they're trying to understand our perspectives of life.
That's what I meant basically. It could be anyone. It doesn't matter. Like, obviously, you know, if you're doing something because you're a black person and you want to further black people, obviously that's always going to be at the core. But then when someone that is not black or whatever, you know, if they show an interest, a genuine interest, it's good because it means you've touched them.
In a
You've
different
reached
way,
them.
innit?
Yeah, you've been able to reach them. And these are, with black people, you would expect that they can even relate to some of the things that you're writing about, or maybe relate to what is making you produce this type of content. But with those people, they don't even have the same experiences as you.
Yeah.
So if they can relate or have empathy for what you're putting out, then it's definitely good.
It's something blessing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then to kind of round up then, like, what would you say, like, what would be your tips for like people who want to get into writing?
Boy, you just have to write. Just write at any given opportunity. Like, tips. I don't even have no tips. If you're a writer, you know you're a writer. You write freely.
But then,
That's my thing.
but then, word to H was like, there's some people out here who are writing, enjoy writing, but they haven't got the confidence to either A, write a whole book.
That is so true.
B, write a book, then publish it. C, go ahead and publish it.
And even on top of that, let's say you do have the confidence. Some people don't even know the process to even get the book done.
Yeah, like, where do you start? Like, yeah, it's true.
Do you know what's so mad? That's so funny that you mentioned that, because my first book, I don't know what kind of fire I had. I just did it. Like, honestly, I don't know. But my second book now, the one that I want to put out next, this book, when I tell you this book has dragged me through the trenches, I'm back. I don't understand what I need to do to complete this book. But honestly, the biggest problem that I have is, like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, it's not even where did I start, because I had an idea, but as I've been writing, it's changed. The direction that I want the book to go on has changed. I've now discovered that I want to talk about this one and this one, this one. So it's like, where do I even start? I don't even know where to start. But the first one, I just knew. I don't know. It's like I knew everything I wanted to say, everything I wanted to talk about. I knew it, and I just wrote it. Honestly, the second one is difficult. It's not easy. Yeah.
So is it difficult to finish or difficult to publish?
It's not difficult to get it out there and put it out. That's the easiest part.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like anything in it,
to
bro.
Get my book made and get it to a physical.
Drop
copy,
names, like what? Who can people go
it's
to?
It's just like what do you mean in terms of to
publishing
get it?
Companies, like printing companies, like I don't know.
So Wordjar is a really good publishing company.
Okay.
I didn't work with them, but they're really good. And in terms of printing and like binding your book and stuff, I've got the name. I'll have to send it to you after.
Yeah, we put it here.
I've got some good links for a company that I always work with all the time when it comes to printing my books. I think it's Clock Book Print. That's the one. Yeah.
Okay.
Clock Book Print.
Do you know your blog as well? Did you do it, if you don't mind me asking, do you do it through WordPress or do you do it through something else?
No, I used Wix.
Okay.
I always use Wix. Wix is my babes.
Yeah.
Like what? Like being
your brand? Nah.
B&Q. No, see, I'm waved.
You know Wix, like Wix, the being.
No.
I know what we're talking about, Charlie. It's not that.
Wix, the website provider.
Bro, I didn't know that. I'm just asking.
There's different blogs websites, isn't it?
God.
Man,
Yeah,
looks
that
like I'm an
one.
idiot. Like, man, I got a master's, you know. I ain't that stupid.
No, honestly, everyone thinks I'm talking about Wix. The what is it? Home shop.
yeah,
That
yeah.
one. But no, it's Wix, Wix. That's the one I use.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, it's really good. I like Wix. I used to design websites as well, and I used to use that a lot. So
No, because I'm looking at doing a blog soon, so I wanted to see.
I think you should use Wix. It's
You
pretty good.
think?
People use WordPress a lot for their blogs, but
Because
I really like
WordPress,
WordPress.
from what I've heard, I want to use internet links as well. I heard you can't really do that with link.
do you know what? Me as a blogger, whatever, I've used every single blog platform that there is. Every single website platform that there is, I've used it. And WordPress ain't it for me.
Yeah.
No shade.
Ah.
But it's not it.
Okay.
Wix is the one. Yeah.
That's how you recommended the blog. Okay, makes sense now.
Yeah. But I can't remember what I was saying.
No, but you're talking about like tips where people can find you and that kind of stuff there.
What tips on how to write?
Yeah. And like the next steps from writing.
Okay, my biggest tips would just be like, you need to just follow your heart. Honestly, that might sound corny, it might sound cliche, but it's the best advice I can give anyone. Like, just follow your heart. If you want to write something, if something is on your mind or on your heart, and you feel like, I need to write about this, because you get that feeling like you're thinking, oh, I need to write about this. Do it. And, you know, with writing, I feel like it really does express the type of person you are, like the things that you write about. Like when I go and look at people's websites and I read their writing, it gives me an idea of what type of person they are, like what their interests are, what they care about, this and that. So I feel like you can't shy away from expressing yourself. Like if you get that feeling, you get a subject that you want to write about, just go ahead and write, because I guarantee you someone is going to read it. Someone's going to read the whole thing. Because you know when you're writing something, you might feel like, oh, this is long. Who's going to read all these words?
Yeah.
Someone's going to read it all, and it's going to touch it. It's going to touch them. And I feel like with your writing, obviously that's you expressing yourself. So if it's just one person that comes to you at the end of the day and says, oh, what you wrote
Was lit.
touched me, you need to be happy about that, because that's come from inside you. It's come from within you. That didn't exist in the world before you sat down and wrote it. And now it exists in the world. Now people can go and read it. So I think take that from it, basically. Yeah.
And do you know what? On that note,
To wrap up as well, I was going to say, where do people find you on socials?
So on Twitter, my @ is Sozia with 2 underscores.
can you spell that,
Can you
please?
please say that, please? Because
Yes,
I'm not
Oh, wow.
Man,
You're
God,
going back closer.
It's SSOZINHA with 2 underscores. I even forgot how to spell it myself.
But by the way, I can't lie. If you support United or anything, not support her. She's an Arsenal fan. She's an op. She's a pagan.
United.
You know what I'm trying to say? It's that dead ass team that rubbed out
What team do
Aubameyang.
you support?
You know what I'm trying to say? So
One
I'm
for
gonna let
you.
you know now. United supporters, don't follow her. She's a op.
Oh my
Do you know
god!
what I mean?
I don't even want to do this with you guys.
Swear.
I don't even want to do this with you guys. You guys.
Yeah. Whatever. I had
United-
Aston Villa though.
Listen.
I had Aston Villa.
Listen,
Yeah, say no
Don't
more.
watch that, because
Oh yeah, I saw your tweets about it. So I was just like,
Which tweets?
when you did to Aston Villa.
What did I say?
Because they are
I was
losers.
probably ranting. Listen, it's not about that. Okay, it's a process. You lot have bare money and all this stuff.
So do you.
So do you.
But
Listen,
you don't
you
spend
lot
it.
spend no.
Stingy Nigerian.
Okay, we don't spend it. We don't spend
But
it.
you got bare money though.
Okay, that's
You
fine.
like stingy
But you
Ghanaian.
don't spend it.
Man, am paying. Man, am paying.
Moving like a stingy
Ozil.
Ghanaian.
The man are paying Ozil. How much a week? Sit on the bench and sit at home.
What, 350k?
You lot- no,
Sit at
wait.
home.
350k.
Sit at home. Done at him, like.
The man there,
money.
hey, what?
You know what I'm
The
trying
man
to
there,
say?
what? And
You
then
Your
lot
money's
have
going to the
money.
bench.
You don't have
Your money's going to the
money.
bench.
You don't have money,
And
and
guess
you
what?
spend it. But what difference does it make though?
But then better
You
than
don't
though.
spend it. No.
But then better than you though.
You said we
By
got
far.
money, we don't spend it. You lot got money, you spend it. So what's next? where are you lot in the table, first of all?
On that note, I'm going to end the episode because we are actually below Arsenal.
Alright,
I don't want to
yeah.
say it's international break. Fuck you. Drop mic.
Yo, and obviously it's been your guy Hobz.
Oh yeah, it's been your boy Sam.
Oh, and it's been your girl, Shirley.
Hey, peace.
Charlie, yeah.